That's probably enough of a delay. Wait, I said that backwards. Anyway, I'm Eric Allen. I'm here with my buddy Morbid Coffee.
Hi,
We're gonna play a little Alone in the Dark, the new Nightmare tonight for the Game Boy
but
Color.
but you're not alone.
That's right. I guess I should close Discord and not have you
Yep,
here, because otherwise I won't get the full spook him up.
you're in the dark though, so you're
Yeah,
half
that's
there.
true. I'm kind of in the dark. I got these monitors, which lights my face up pretty good. Anyway, I've never played this game before. I'm gonna assume that it's pretty bad. As most of the reviews that I could dig up on it were all in the like 4 to 5 range, which is real bad for a game that came
Play it
out.
in French.
I have a feeling this game will also be inscrutable. So yeah. So anyway, games when games in 2001 got fours and fives, like uh, that's pretty bad news. Because back then games tended to not get. Oh man, there's all kinds of. Okay, I guess it's just looks like German, French, and American.
German's the scariest language.
Uh, so let's see. Alone in the Dark. The what is the subtitle for this? Alone in the Dark: The New Nightmare. This is a sort of a pseudo sequel. Sort of also like a I think it is a sequel to the OG Alone in the Dark games, which I think the first one of those came out in like 1992 for the PC, and then there was a couple sequels. Um, Alone in the Dark has a special place in video game history since it was the first of uh, the sort of survival horror as we think of it today. The like Alone in the Dark invented that, and then Resident Evil, which didn't come out until like 1996, so like 4 years later, Resident Evil was kind of where it was not perfected, because Resident Evil was improved in Resident Evil 2 and then the Silent Hill series, in terms of in in the Resident Evil series in terms of mechanics, and in the Silent Hill series in
It
terms
made it
of
mainstream.
writing. But yeah, it was what popularized it for sure. And it was also like the million horrible survival horror games on the PlayStation were not inspired by Alone in the Dark. They were inspired by Resident Evil. And man, there's a fucking boatload of bad survival horror games for the PlayStation 1. Let me tell you about Overblood. Actually, let's not talk about Overblood.
Save it for the stream.
Yeah, I'm not going to stream Overblood. I don't think I'm going to play that. That game is really bad. Um, so anyway, I played this game back in the day in 2001 because I was playing a lot of these. That's how I'm familiar with Overblood, and I don't know, there's like Galarians and a bunch of other bad games that I played because I liked Resident Evil, and renting games from Blockbuster was cheap. And there's a lot of text at the beginning of this game. But yeah, like I have an appreciation for what was done in the first Alone in the Dark, but this was a pretty like a kind of a second tier Resident Evil clone when it came out in 2001. And then when I went back and played the OG Alone in the Dark and the like a few years after that, it was pretty fucking tough to go back to. I'm not gonna lie. It's a bit of a stretch to say that there's anything really scary in any of these games, especially in a post Silent Hill 2 world.
It's from the intro.
I found
I'm
this.
hoping this isn't those Game Boy Color games that do like the not pre-rendered graphics, but like the pseudo 3D graphics.
Yep, that's what this is.
It's guaranteed to be not good then,
Yeah.
because I know they did that with the Tomb Raider and stuff, and all those are awful.
Yep, that's exactly what this is. This is about as faithful a recreation as you could get for this game on the Game Boy Color. I mean, you can see just looking at this very first screen that what they had to do to the pre-rendered backgrounds
Oh
in Alone in
no.
the Dark: The New Nightmare is just like fucking horrific. It's just like a vomit of blues and grays. I mean, I can tell that that's supposed to be a wrought iron gate and kind of a squiggly, creepy tree, but the fact that your player character is, I mean, that's a fucking howler monkey. That's not a human.
You are the new nightmare.
Yeah. I do appreciate that they, like this, in the cutscenes, it's just a poor JPEG of the 3D character model from the PlayStation/Dreamcast game, which I think I played it on Dreamcast, actually. I was very hungry for Dreamcast games, especially in 2001 before I got my PlayStation 2, but I mean, there is something like abstractly beautiful about these, like the blue and purple and whites and grays. That's just like this wash of abstract color in the background, but it's pretty fucking tough to see what's happening here. Also, I really like these Looney Tunes style cartoon evil eyes in the background. It's pretty creepy. Hoo 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 hoo.
I'll be right back.
Some spooky sounds. Okay. A clip of bullets is lying on the ground. Someone must have been in a hurry to reload and drop them. I think, like, I'm pretty sure that the official full release of this on the other more powerful consoles was fully voice acted and everything, but obviously there's not enough room on a Game Boy Color cartridge to put any of that stuff in there. The hell was that? Looks like trouble. Better be ready for anything. Oh boy. I'm gonna shoot these spiders with my gun. Holy shit. Look, I'm a full-sized man, damn it. I shouldn't have to shoot a spider with a gun. I should just be able to step on them. Also, if I'm standing... When I look at the camera, I look like a weird howler monkey, and then when I turn sideways, I look like a weird hobo with a giant beard. Got a little bit of a fish out of water thing going on there.
Sorry.
Also, he's heaving in a way that makes me really uncomfortable. I guess, how did I end up going back? Okay, I'm going the wrong way, I guess. Or maybe I went around in a loop.
Those eyes are spooky.
Yeah, I'm pretty spooked out. Okay, I guess that's... Holy fucking shit, man. Okay, I think I can go north or south here. I think those are two entrances. Okay, that's a door for sure. I think in... Whoop. Wait, why did that send me back to the... Oh, man. It's like in the... I think... Man, I'm trying to remember what happened in the original Alone in the Dark, but...
I've never actually played Alone in the Dark.
Yeah, I think there's an evil tree in that game. You have to, like, you visit the mansion. I think there was a murder in the mansion, and you can play as either the niece of the guy that was murdered there, or as this guy who's a detective. And then you visit the mansion and are attacked by monsters, and you get locked in the attic, and then you have to solve a bunch of really sort of bad logic puzzles to get out. And there's like not really combat per se. Any combat in the game is it's mostly like you have to like interact with the environment to defeat monsters. I think you do have a gun you can shoot, but it's not the ideal way to defeat most of the enemies. And I think there's a lot of monsters that you can't even defeat that way. To use an item such as a key, select it in the inventory, then stand next to a door and press the A button. Okay, alright, I have a key, so maybe I can get in that room now. How do I... Okay, there we go. I have a walkie-talkie, orange flask, lighter. I think I just exited. Let's try this.
I really don't like these Game Boy Color games.
You
Like,
mean
hate this style. I hate the fact that like a lot of Game Boy Color games tried to like port PlayStation games over
yeah.
to the Game Boy Color.
Hey man, to be fair, that one Tony Hawk game for the Game Boy Color is pretty good. Or no,
Yeah,
was that Game Boy Color or was that a GBA game?
I want to say Game Boy Advance.
I think that was a GBA
Sure.
game.
'Cause I feel like they came out what year?
What's that? Tony Hawk?
Well,
The first one was like 99, 2000 on the PlayStation because there was a Dreamcast version of that, and then that was ported a little later, and then Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 was like on everything all at the same time.
I would probably say Game Boy Advance because I want to say Game Boy Advance came out 2000.
Yeah, well, when did Circles? I just played Circle of the Moon, and I looked up the date at that time, so I should remember this. I think that was 01, so this was pretty late in the Game Boy Color's.
Well, they also went back and ported a lot of older games to Game Boy Advance.
I better be ready for anything. What is this? Is this? I guess these are Evil Dogs. Man,
I mean, Game Boy Advance didn't really do, 3D any better either.
No. Oh my god. As I walk away, my dude turns tiny. Is this supposed to be like a pseudo 3D model, or is it just some bad sprite scaling that's happening there?
I think it's both. Maybe?
I think it's. I guess it's just a. I don't know if the Game Boy Color probably couldn't do any sort of hacked 3D stuff. It's got to be just a really poorly scaled sprite. Carnby, how close are you to the phone are you now? Not very. Why? I think someone is moving around near the aircraft. It's probably just a raccoon. Turn on the aircraft lights. The aircraft? That is a very non-specific way to word that. I already have, but... Man, any tension in this game is just completely sucked away by the
screen transitions I really don't like.
I gotta be honest, I don't think there's anything that I like about this game. But the wood of the doors appears to be rotten and weak. Okay, so I could probably use a crowbar to get inside here, I'm gonna guess. Nope, let's try. I think I might have hit the wrong button. No? Oh, here we go. There we go. Force my way inside with the crowbar. Oh, now we switch color palettes. Now it's more brown and purple than gray and purple. There's also a little green in here too. I don't. Did you have a Game Boy Color? I never really messed around with an actual Game Boy Color.
I did have a Game Boy Color.
Was there? What was like? I know there were some like Game Boy games that were released as like DX versions for the Game Boy Color, right? Like Link's Awakening.
Yeah, Link's Awakening. I do know
this going up and down stairs transition is something really special too. Sorry, continue.
The only thing I really remember was Game Boy Color related. It's Zelda Oracle games.
Mm-hmm.
Oracle Ages and Oracle Seasons actually had like bonus things if you played those on a Game Boy Advance, because they were originally Game Boy Color only games.
Okay.
And they came out like a few months before the Game Boy Advance, and they had something kind of special badges or something in the game that gave you like unique abilities if you played it on a Game Boy Advance, but if you played it on a Game Boy Color, you just would never find them.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. What the fuck happened to my shoulder? Just sort of dissolving into the vomit of color that is the left-hand side of the screen. Can't focus. You must find my amulet for me. It will give me the strength to stay longer. Find it for me, Carnby. I don't think I'm gonna bother doing that, actually. What am I up to? I played like 15 minutes of this. I think that's enough time to make some judgment about whether or not I would like to play more of Alone in the Dark.
So maybe this
New
is just
Nightmare.
because I don't know any better.
Hmm.
Every time I look at the character sprite in this game,
Yeah.
I just think of it as like a very low poly Tommy Wiseau.
All right. Yeah, I can see it for sure.
So
Like I
you
said,
just
he
need-
looks. If you look at him from head on, he looks like a howler monkey, and then when
Yeah,
he
you
turns
just need to
sideways,
read all
I
the
think
dialogue.
sideways I see the Tommy Wiseau comparison.
Yeah, you just
'cause
need to read all the dialogue. of
His-
choice.
his left or right shoulder sort of turns into a sort of dark gray beard when he stands sideways. Oh, I guess this takes me back down the stairs. Man, it's really hard to keep track of where you are oriented on
I
these
literally cannot tell
screens.
what you can interact with.
Well, any of the
Or-
interaction points are like sparkly, or they have that. There's like a weird symbol, but it's just like, in any kind of open space, it's really hard to tell. Like, see this yellow icon? It's something I can interact with, but it's really hard to tell, like, where you're gonna go when you go towards the top or the bottom of the screen. It's a box of shotgun cartridges. Shotgun cartridges. Does that mean I need to find the... Usually you would only say cartridges if it was just the shell casings.
You gotta blow into them first.
I gotta find the gunpowder and then one of those tamping machines so I can push the wad of plastic and the the pellets and the gunpowder down inside. All right. It's because it seems like I should be able to look. This looks like a door, but I can't tell if I'm going through that door and coming into this room or if I'm going off the screen to the right.
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person. Like,
Because see, if I go down, I end up in that screen. If I go right, I end up in that screen.
it needs the thing that the PlayStation Final Fantasy games did, where you push the
Oh, yeah,
finger
yeah.
over what you can interact with.
Yeah, I would try pushing more buttons, but this is a Game Boy Color, so it's only 4 buttons.
I mean, at this point, like, I've played those games enough times, like, what you can and can't do.
Yeah.
But, like, playing them for the first time, I could not play Final Fantasy VII without that on, because I just had no idea where I was going.
I think this might be the most insulting thing. Is this
Oh, no.
combat screen where I have to shoot spiders with a pistol?
Why
Although
does he walk
honestly,
so slow?
I don't know. Honestly, the game might be better if the whole thing took place from that perspective, though, because at least in that weird isometric view, you can keep track of where you are. That's a clip of revolver bullets. I'm glad I have bullets for guns that I don't have. So I think there was a Resident Evil game that came out for the Game Boy Color, but it was like a Resident Evil Gaiden or something, and it was a different.
I think there were
thing.
2 of them.
And then there was a Resident Evil like demake, a Resident Evil port, but I think
There
that
was-
was canceled. I don't think that ever actually came out. I think
There
there
was
like
one where you played
screenshots,
as-
but
Mary, I know that.
yeah.
And then there was one that took place on the boat. I don't remember if those are the same game.
I don't know. I don't think I ever played any of those. Like I said, I never
I
had a
have to look
Game
it
Boy
up
Color.
on giantbomb.com.
Yeah, there you go.
Gamebomb.
Gamebomb.ru, our favorite website.
Yep.
Oh, hey, what the hell was that? Looks like trouble. Better be. Oh my god, I can't believe it goes to the screen every time you enter a combat scenario. Yeah, see, like, this is... I don't think the game would be good if it took place completely in this perspective. But at least I would know where the fuck I was going most of the time. It's difficult to map out the world in my head.
I guess they were the same game.
Were they?
Resident Evil Gaiden is a non-canonical for the Game Boy Color. The game follows Barry Burton and Leon S. Kennedy as they hunt for new BOW on the ocean liner Starlight.
BOWs.
You know, Barry Burton and Leon do each other.
Best buddies.
Yep.
And
Best
that
bros taking an
other
ocean.
video game where they definitely interacted that I can't think of. Oh man, the perspective is so fucked in this game. I don't know. I have to admit, I don't
Apparently,
exactly
this is
think
supposed
so.
to be a prequel to Resident Evil 2, where Leon already knows about BOWs to
Okay,
like a rookie on the police force.
sure. That explains his horrified reaction to everything that happens in the early parts of
Yeah,
Resident Evil 2. Man, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. What do I have in my inventory? A lighter. Oh, an old map of Shadow Island. Okay, yeah, this is a really useful map. This is a really useful map. Is this a map or just a really blurry JPEG of somebody's lungs? Alright. I think I'm done with this game. Got some gloves. Got a gold key, but I don't know where to use it. I just can't. I can't. Like in any Resident Evil or Alone in the Dark style game, like you have to be able to map where your character is in relation to the rest of the world. Like even though, like one of the advantages to those games and the tank controls, is that it lets the game producers do some really interesting and dynamic things with camera angles and once they moved into fully 3D games like the Resident Evil remake or specifically the Silent Hill series, they could do some really cool things with dynamic camera angles.
mm.
Like that's the argument for why tank controls are okay, and why those types of games should exist, in my opinion anyway. That's the appeal. But when the game looks this bad and everything is just a vomited mass of color, it just makes it impossible to orient yourself with the constantly shifting camera angles. Like you said, even if they just put on screen like some arrows to indicate where an area of transition was, it would make a big difference. But
I feel like the only game on Game Boy Color that sort of did that right was the Metal Gear Solid game.
mm-hmm.
Because it didn't just try to port Metal Gear Solid, it basically took the mechanics of that game, but then took inspiration from the older Metal Gear games.
Yeah,
So it sort of just like expanded on it, but it felt like the PlayStation game just in a 2D setting.
yeah.
And I don't know,
Um,
like this was a different time. Like
it's
I'm
true.
sure this was technically impressive for the time, but it's also vomit. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's not very good. I don't. So this was made by Pocket Studios. Who it looks like most of their uh, most of their oeuvre was GBA ports of other games like Gauntlet Dark Legacy, which was a really bad Gauntlet revival for the PlayStation 2.
Mm,
Um, some Midway and Williams Arcade compilations. Army Men Operation Green for the Game Boy Advance. Man, remember when the fucking viral infection of Army Men games existed?
Are they supposed to be making a comeback?
Are they making some new
Or
Army Men
I don't.
games?
I thought I read something about them, like maybe possibly wanting to make another one, like a game in development, but it may be in development hell. I don't know. I
Okay.
just remember them being in the news like a month or two ago.
Yeah, I
And I was
mean,
like, no, don't do that.
am I going. I can't. I feel like I should be going through that door in that transition, not going upstairs. I don't know. Anyway, now looks like I'm a tiny person standing on the edge of this chair. That's it. That's enough Alone in the Dark, the new Nightmare. Tomorrow night I'm going to pick something that's actually good and play it for real. I guess
Yeah.
I feel like I gave this game as fair a shake as it deserves. There is something about the aesthetic that I like. Like if this was a 99-cent game on Itch.io, that was more just a visual experiment rather than trying to recreate a fully fledged survival horror game that was released on the Dreamcast, I would be more willing to forgive it. But it is an interesting. This fucking howler monkey face when he's standing sideways is really good. It's an interesting technical achievement, but I don't think there's much of value here outside of that. I don't think there's that much of value in the full-fledged Dreamcast or PlayStation versions of this game either. Really, Resident Evil and Silent Hill are the only two series of survival horror games that are really worth a damn. There's some other ones that are inspired by those, like Parasite Eve, which I just played a few days ago. But as far as this is concerned, the gaping howler monkey says it all.
You are the nightmare. You are the new nightmare.
I am the new nightmare. All right, that's it for this. I'll be back tomorrow with something hopefully a little better. But I don't know. I never even checked the chat. There was no chat, so that's good. Anyway, good night. Goodbye.
Good night.